Church clap. Hey.
Welcome to Powerhouse Women. The best friendships aren't just supposed to feel easy all the time. They challenge us sometimes. It really is an expansion.
Girl, don't cry. No, I'm not gonna cry today. I saw all of these other women at different stages in their lives and their business, and they felt so empowered, and it really gave me permission to do the same, to actually call myself a businesswoman.
That just truly 10x my vision because of just the women that I was having dinner with.
I know I'm supposed to be here. I know I'm supposed to do that. It's that intuition. It's having that hit, that information in your body and trusting it.
I wanted to show up and I wanted to do all the things and I just couldn't. I was tired. What are you bringing into your life? What are you speaking into existence that you do to support you for when you're in go season? What are you doing for you?
I think this episode should come with a warning label: the energy level, the inspiration level. I am joined by two of my favorite women on the entire planet. If you've been to the Powerhouse Women event, you know them, you love them. None other than Priscilla Perez and Patty Tapia. And today we're talking about not just how expansive their friendship is and the way they support each other. They truly are girl gang goals. But we're talking about how embodiment and understanding how to connect with our feminine energy can help us bring our vision to the world in a bigger way. And those of you who are moms, we're really talking about how your season of motherhood mirrors the season that your business is in. I don't know how we fit all this inspiration into this short conversation, but somehow we did it. Some might say we're overachievers. And I am so excited for you to hear from my cousins. You'll understand this joke once you listen to the episode. Priscilla Perez, founder of Off Duty Rituals, Patty Tapia, founder of Moon and Waves. These women are just the embodiment of what Powerhouse Women is, and I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation.
Clap it up right here. Hey, church clap. Hey.
Ladies, welcome to Powerhouse Women.
Así mismo.
This feels like a mini Powerhouse Women event in many ways. This feels like sitting with my cousins. Yes. We'll bring everyone up to speed on that inside joke. Yeah. This feels like such an opportunity to honor the role that you both have played in my life and in this community. Your impact goes so deep. And that little preview was such an example of how you literally raise the energy in any space that you're in. Individually, but there's like a 10x effect when you're together. So I am so honored to have the one and only P&P, Patty Tapia, Priscilla Perez on the Powerhouse Women podcast.
Hello.
How has it taken this long?
We're all busy, booked and blessed.
Booked and blessed, isn't that right?
Yes.
So I'm so excited as we enter Powerhouse Women's season, as we start to get excited for the 2025 event. You're coming back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Because I actually feel like you're as synonymous with Powerhouse. Like I could maybe skip a year, but as long as you two are there to hold down the fort, it would be okay.
We got you.
You're so synonymous with this community and this event. And we want to highlight the incredible work you're both doing in the world. Individually, you have these amazing creations. And also, I thought it would be a cool opportunity to honor the friendship and the way that you really support one another, because that's a lot of what Powerhouse stands for. So here's what I want to start with. To give people, I'll do my own separate intro, but there is nothing like hearing yourself introduced through the way your best friend would describe you. So I'm going to have you take turns. We'll have Patty go first. You're going to explain to us, who is Priscilla? What is the work she's doing through the way you see her, and then vice versa.
We've never done this.
No.
I'm really excited.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Yeah, but you're going first and you're really good with your words. So.
As are you. I think that's number one. That's us, is always encouraging one another and always uplifting us, whether the other person is in that same frequency or not. I don't think we ever allow ourselves to feel bad about ourselves because we're amazing people. And that's why we're best friends.
Amen.
This woman is a powerhouse woman. I would say first things first, P is a connector and lover of people. This woman is so able to have such an open heart and to anticipate what people need and how to support them. And I think you do that with ODR, with off-duty rituals, with this experiential wellness pop-up. It's never just about you. I think your heart is so infinite. It's always about bringing in other facilitators and collaborators and set designers and different photographers and hosts and guests. And it's so much about consistently building community and continuing that connection with community, which I so honor. Like P is a person who hangs out after class and talks to everyone and knows. She's always like, do you remember this person? I'm like, girl, stop. I don't remember anyone.
Making me feel bad.
Yes. She knows. She just knows. I think you just have so much space in your heart. And it's funny because I always say P is a great pattern recognizer. She just keeps details about people and how they can be more successful in small to grandiose ways. And I think you just hold so much space. So I think through ODR, I think this is your like greatest outlet where you get to express how much you love community and movement. And girl, don't cry. No, I'm not gonna cry today. I'm gonna talk to Lindsay. I think, and that just extends just imagine what I'm saying to what that energy looks like, her energy towards a stranger, and then put that towards motherhood and family. It is insane. You're in her house and it is your home. P is, she'll feed you, she'll give you a bed, she'll give you $1. Just an incredible person. So much to the point where I was just watching her daughter Willow by myself the other day. And I was like, you are so sweet. How are you this sweet? And she said, mom and dad. This 3-year-old knows that, right? She knows. She's literally just acting. She is acting as this tiny human being, truly just reincarnating all of the lessons and all the love that her parents give her. P is a lover and a crazy visionary. Anything that this woman sees, she does. And she gets to dream for other people and expand. You're everything. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean now about going first. I mean, you were getting emotional listening to that. How does that feel?
I didn't expect to cry in like the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's a record.
I mean, we know that so deeply about one another, but to like hear it just from the beginning to the end, and in this setting, it was thank you, friend. Thank you.
I love you.
Oh, I love you, sis. I love you, sis. Oh, Patty embodies the word authenticity. She is who she is, and I think that is what pulls everyone to this energy of just like, I want to be more me. She creates this space of freedom. When I think freedom, when I think authenticity, when I think of someone just changing the narrative and the game and just being like who they are from the time they wake up to the time to go to sleep, that is Patricia. And knowing her so deeply and knowing her family and knowing all the things. I know all the things, right? I'm the sister, best friend, cousin that we just found out we were cousins 3 years ago, but that's a story for later. To know all the things and to know that she is here doing what she does, creating Moon and Waves during COVID by herself, doing this, like just wanting to create this method that was organic, that just spoke to her, that was a vision really from the universe that was just planted in her heart, in her mind, and for her to just go full speed for it. And the ripple effect that continuously happens with Moon and Waves, it's wild. No one can make someone laugh as hard and cry as hard in one session.
Yeah.
And within 30 minutes, like Patty. But that's because of the work that you do. And that's what no one sees. And although everyone sees you doing all the things in your house, what they don't see is the work and the knowledge and how she's the smartest person I know. She's the smartest person I know. And you'll hear her say, I grew up feeling like I wasn't that smart and I don't know words. And she still says that to this day. And I'm like, Patricia, stop that. She is so, so, so deep in her practice. Like when you talk about like experts, she's an expert.
Yeah.
I see you as an expert. The world sees you as an expert. And I hope you feel that and you feel as an expert because you don't just talk the talk. You walk the talk. All the things, you are who you say you are. And I think what's been so cool is Patty and I, we've always had a long distance relationship. And I think that's that's something that people don't know about us.
Yeah.
Is we've always lived in different cities and states. And then it wasn't until COVID, when you moved to Arizona, that we were already super deep. Like, we talk all the time. When all you have is a phone, you just get right into it. But when she moved here, and then I just had Bennett, and I had my actual sister family here, like, we got deep, and we really got to see each other. And I got to see the work, the reading, the school, the expertise, like how she just really holds herself accountable. And I'm just so proud of you. I'm so, so proud of you with everything that you've done, and to be a part of Moon and Waves. And that's the one consistent thing that you've said from the beginning to the end, and the impact that you want to make. It's inspiring in so many ways. And I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Sis, real talk.
Just like have a moment for that. I mean, what a reminder of the gift we can all give the people close to us in witnessing them, saying it. And the way that you two show up for each other, how everyone else can witness you showing up for each other, that was the most beautiful embodiment of that. And it really is an expansion for people watching. Now, for anyone who's like, wait, sister, cousin, long distance, I don't think I've ever met anyone like, I was friends with my cousins growing up. That was cute. And then, you grow apart. And then there's people who are like, oh, I feel like we're family. We're so close. No, you were legitimate best friends. Mm-hmm. Found out later you were cousins. How does that even happen?
We were just reflecting on this. I just remember I met Priscilla through way of another friend, and it was one Halloween in New York City in the West Village, and this girl who was dressed in like a toga or a goddess, and her shoe was broken because she was having so much fun, and her hair was crazy. And I was like, who is she? She's so fun. And it was like this group and this other friend group. And I was like, who is she? And I just felt that connection immediately. And then it wasn't until like months and months later where those friend groups kind of came together, and they went to a ski trip. And just little things about P that I remember is like you having Sean give you a head massage. I was like, look at this girl. She just asked people for whatever
for what she wants. How radical.
Like, she was just like, oh, can I get in there now? Her head is getting, and I was like, oh, wow. And so just from that moment, obviously so hilarious. Say that part one more time.
So the funniest.
You are.
This is something that people do not know about me. I am actually funny, guys. I'm not that funny on stage. But okay, cool. You do.
Everybody knows. I would say you're one and you're number two. You are very funny. And you're very clever.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, she's so good. Hilarious. She's so good. So I think it was really Facebook. It was really Facebook that it was the messaging there. And then you were in San Francisco, I was in LA. And then we were the only two that were out of the New York crew from Yonkers. Yeah. We were all first generation Dominicans living in Yonkers, and Patty and I were the only ones that moved to the West Coast. She was up in North Cal, I was in LA. So we just messaged a lot of our friends, and Patty and I just always kept in touch. And our mutual best friend, Ironell, is who connected us. And Patty went to elementary school. I went to middle school with her. So she's kind of like our connector and still our best friend till this day, which is wild. But it really was that beginning from New York all the way to the West Coast. And we just stayed in touch and we visited each other. And just every year our relationship got deeper and deeper. And it wasn't till maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we were having a conversation. It was you, me, and Mitch, my husband. And I think your grandfather was sick or something, and he was in DR. And we were having a conversation. And I was like, what part of, and mind you, what's your middle name? What's your last name? My mom's maiden name is Perez.
And I'm Perez. I'm Priscilla Perez. And here's the thing. I did not grow up with my biological father. My biological father, born and raised in Dominican Republic. I was raised with my mother in New York and my stepfather. So my stepfather raised me since I was 1 year old. So he's my dad. And my father's side of the family is just a bit disconnected. I'm a bit disconnected with. So it wasn't until this conversation, I was like, Perez, what part of DR is your mother from? And she's like, Moca. I was like, oh, that's interesting. My dad's from Moca too. And then we're like, wouldn't it be crazy? You said this. Patty was like, wouldn't it be crazy if we were cousins? I'm like, that would be hilarious. So she just texts her mom. I text my mom. And we just started putting the pieces together. And our grandfathers are brothers. Our grandfathers are brothers.
Which even that, I think it's so interesting how our connection is through that paternal masculine, right? And I think we are obviously so feminine, but we also carry this very assertive masculine energy, which I appreciate, right? Yeah. It's those slight little details of our connection are just So, right?
That is really interesting.
It's a cool
She would
story.
know that.
And I feel like now everyone collectively, that became kind of the running joke, is everybody wants to be your cousins. You've got a very long line of potential future cousins.
You're number
We're
one.
open.
though,
We
Liz.
love all our cousins.
You heard it here.
We love all the primas.
You heard
here.
it first.
I love watching the way you show up for one another. And I want to speak to this specific dynamic because the time that we've been friends, I've watched you two be in very different seasons. And I think there's one thing to showing up for our friends. We're in similar seasons. We're all running together. We're creating, we're doing. And then there's a different dynamic when you can genuinely celebrate your friend who's having her moment in the spotlight when you are having a different season. So what has that looked like? Is there ever a moment where inside you have to wrestle with that, like, oh, I'm not in that same season? Or is it always easy to show up for each other in that way?
Every other week.
Yeah.
Right?
It switches off?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or every other actual season, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's funny when you said that. I was just like, I think we're always actually not. There's always one that's riding higher than the other. Always. I don't ever think we're both like, "Argh." And I think that's I think that's why we love working with each other so much.
Yeah.
Is because there's always one person that's like driving it and adding energy to it. Because when we're both off, it's just not happening.
It's not gonna work.
We've learned that about ourselves. One, we're both manifestors. If you're into the human design,
That's important.
that's very important. And I think the more we're just tapping into how we show up, what works best for us, like we're being very honest with ourselves and also the mirror for one another. So when we're both not into it, like for an example, us planning a PMP pop-up, like, okay, we're going to do this. This is our date, but no one's texting, no one's talking about it. And it's 3 weeks before. We're like, are we forcing this? Like we have to ask each other because are we not in it? And we have pulled it so many times because it's like, you're writing on this, I'm writing. We're writing on different ways right now. We'll come back to this later. That happens all the time.
Yeah, I think there's also like, we have things that obviously PMP pop-up stuff that we work together, but individually we have such major projects and passions and goals. So I have time to show up and support you whenever you're doing, because then I don't have to think about my stuff, you know? Can we curse here? I'm not gonna curse.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think about my shit, so I can support you and vice versa. Priscilla, I'm always like, oh my God, you're so smart. That's a great idea. She's like, yeah, I'm great at helping everyone else but myself. And it's like, same, right? We can show up when we feel unenergized for our things to show up for other people. And I think we definitely balance that off. And also, when we do have to work together and we're both off, we know that eventually we're going to pop off. It's going to be amazing. We're both super intuitive. We trust everything we do and say. And so it gets a little bit hairy, but then we're like, you know what? I'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be great. High five. And then we just crush it the next day.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a time, one of the Powerhouse,
We're just like blank.
I think it was the second. Yeah. You traveled somewhere. We were just on opposite schedules and we did not have a time to connect.
Is that when I made you do a flash mob and we put it together in
I think it was
days?
No, it wasn't.
It was.
Puerto Rico?
It wasn't this year. Yeah, it was last year, and that was our flash mob.
No wonder I was pissed. No, but it was, and that happens a lot. Yeah, we're writing and it always pulls through, but the behind the scenes, it's like, but we trust.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It is. We definitely give each other like a high five. We'll send each other a text. Sorry, I didn't show up. Because we just know we're professionals.
Yeah.
Like we know we'll pull it together. We know we'll never like you just take the wheel. It's never like that. But when we're meeting and we're having these like brainstorm sessions, like Patty can flow. I need the sun to be positioned in the right part of the sky. I need to have worked out and like had 8 hours of sleep, all the things for me to like flow in that. I flow really well by myself first. So if I come prepared, like Patty can just, she's a freestyle rapper. So I need a lot of preparation before. That's how I work, to then show up to give something. And like when we're on opposite schedules, it is pretty rough. But I will say we've done so many collaborations at this point that we're like, it's all good. High five. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to work out.
Send it.
What I'm hearing too is something that I feel like I'm learning newly in this season, because I've had to ask for a lot of support and I've had to really be vocal about my needs, because they are different and the way I'm showing up for people in my life is different based on my capacity. And that felt uncomfortable. It isn't natural for me to speak up for my own needs or say, hey, I'm not going to be able to be there for you for that. How have you learned that about yourself so you can communicate it to each other? What showing up for you and what you need from each other as friends looks like. Has that been natural? Have you always been someone who's good at asserting your needs and even knowing what they are? Or for one or either of you, has that been a little bit of a learning curve?
I think a mix of both. I feel like we're very honest in our relationship and just with all of our relationships with everyone individually. And I think collaborating on projects, we've just learned about each other, and every single small and big project, we've just learned more and more about our like work styles in that sense. So I think that there's times that it's like, but still, I think the beginning still too, there were some conversations that we like had to have that was like, oh, it's still weird. Like this is still your friend. And it's like, hey, I need to bring this up. So it never really happened in the moment because we needed like some time a few hours to process. And then we would have a conversation about it. But Patty and I are great listeners, and we are great speakers in that sense. Like we'll always give each other space. Like your emotions are valid. So we just feel really, really good and safe with one another.
Yep.
But yeah, in the moment we've had so many uncomfortable conversations, and then, in the moment we've wanted to, but then it's like, we'll chat, we'll give each other the eye. And then like later it's either a voice note or in person. And it's just,
I think that part when you said we're really good listeners, because I'm hearing that question and I'm like, I think I'm really good at venting and sharing and crying. And I don't think I necessarily ask, which I think I can get better at asking for specifics, because even in this time right now, P has asked me at least 3 times this past week, what do you need? And what did I say? I was like, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. And you're not pushing me. And I still don't know. And we talked about this. I saw you on Saturday at dinner, and I still don't know. And so I think back to being a good listener, when I hear P being overwhelmed with this, with the kids or whatever, it's like we kind of hop in. And I think that's what feels so like family, right? It's not this like sit down conversation, but it's like, I got you, you got me, I got you. And it's like this cycle where we're just consistently showing up in a fluid way.
It's really interesting to even communicate this and be asked these questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we've never put any of this into words. We just exist. We just do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, me and Patty just keep, the camera's like, we just keep looking at each other like, how do we say this? Because it's talking about what you do so naturally and how it works. And it's like, okay, how do I paint the picture for this?
Yes. And I'm grateful for the way that you are capturing it, even if you're kind of discovering it and putting it into words in the moment, because this is what I wanted people to be able to pull out of this is, if they see friendships that are aspirational, to also realize the work that goes into them, the intentionality that goes into them, the fact that it doesn't always feel smooth, and the best friendships aren't just supposed to feel easy all the time. They challenge us sometimes, and they challenge us to advocate for ourselves or learn new things about ourselves so we can communicate and have other people know us more deeply. And I feel that sense from you, but I'd never had a reason to ask you that. So I think this is kind of along the lines of the topic of like really understanding ourselves, feeling our emotions, which is so much of the work that you're doing with Moon and Waves, your beautiful creation. I've been blessed to experience it in one of your in-person workshops. You now have online options as well. And it was in a season in this last year where it sounds so silly to say, but a big part of this healing has been to give myself permission to feel my feelings. Explain the methodology behind this creation of Moon and Waves and what it really offers those of us who are ambitious. The Powerhouse Women community, you are the Powerhouse Women community. And there's something so important and so pure that you're tapping into with your work that I think is going to be the forefront of those of us who are really achieving on high levels. And it doesn't look like the way of achieving in the past.
Thank you for that. Because I think what's so amazing about Moon and Waves, especially for people in your community, is that this is that bridge, this is that connection that we need in order to flow in business, to flow with our bodies and with our minds, because we're all, and I'm learning, this about myself as well, we're all overthinkers, and we have all these stories and beliefs in our bodies and in our memories. And so this practice, my goal is for you to feel connected to your higher self. And so who is that? What is that? our higher self manifests in so many different ways. You know, through the visualization that I guide people in my class, sometimes people see a younger version of themselves. Sometimes it's an elder version of themselves. I've had people say that they've seen their mother, like a spirit animal. And it's an opportunity to connect to and understand that no matter what your mind is telling you and all of the lies and the crazy fogginess of it all, that deep down inside of you and in your existence, there's something, someone, a tribe of people who love you and are constantly pulling you back home, no matter when you feel lost, when you feel doubtful or confused. And so it's fascinating that in the most simplest ways, I'm getting people to connect to and love themselves.
Yeah.
Which sounds so easy, but of course, with life struggles and all our different seasons and phases, that knowing of your worth can fluctuate. And so the method itself, which I always love to offer anyone, like I put this together, and honestly, any yoga class, any fitness class, any meditation class, we as guides are just here to remind you of what you already know. That higher self is always with you and has never, ever left, and will continue to help you succeed and move forward. And so in this methodology, it's really movement with affirmations. But the thing is, there's so many times we practice affirmations and we're disembodied, right? We're saying like, I'm going to have a great day and I'm confident and I'm beautiful. And there's no energy. There's no micro expression. There's just this kind of like stale person inside that's wanting so deeply to connect with those words. And so I incorporate movement into this. Like, let's connect the mind and the body through body language, through manifesting with your body. So affirmations, movement. My goal with anything, whether I'm teaching journaling or meditate, anything, is really move the physical body to then be able to be more present in a spiritual body. And if you've ever read the Yoga Sutras, which is like the yoga Bible, when does yoga start? It starts now. Why do we practice yoga? To calm the mind. So why do we do this? Is to move the body and then calm down the mind. And then eventually come into your body and connect to that inner feminine, inner masculine, which both of those things are so helpful. Like I just said, me and P are feminine, figures, but we get shit done. And that's our masculine showing up. But it's really also having a safe and vulnerable connection with your femininity and masculinity, and not attaching those negative words and connotations to them, and just knowing that there's just so much expression and so much life inside of us. How can we tap into our body's wisdom rather than living from the logic mind? And so my goal is for people to feel those feelings, because once you enter your body, you don't know what's going to show up.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe you're
Which
coming
is the
to
fear
Moon Waves.
Sometimes.
You're coming with an intention of just like self-love. And then here you are, you're crying because you want to forgive yourself and love yourself or be more empowered or this. And you just I think that's what's so exciting, is that you truly, when you're open, that's when you're really going to get the clarity and the answers, as when you don't have those expectations. Mm-hmm. And so throughout this experience, this practice, which I first created for myself, it was my healing practice. It was what I needed. I needed affirmations. I needed kind words. I was feeling lost during COVID. And during these times, knowing that like, okay, these are the things that I didn't necessarily grow up with. And now as an adult, I can't continue to blame my parents for that experience, although they gave me all the other basic needs. But when it came to affection and positive words of affirmations and encouragement, that was just not Dominican life.
It's not about our language.
Not all of them, we're not going to generalize, but at least in our experience. And so I really, like a lot of healers, like what you do with building community is we see this lack, we see this wound, and we're just like, oh, we just want people to feel good in the way that we didn't get the opportunity to. And so it's been such a blessing, truly. Also to just know like, oh yeah, this is my thing. This is what I created. And what's so fascinating for me, I mean, obviously I know the ins and outs, is that I created this whole method before learning more about somatic practices and shamanic Reiki and polarity and all these things that happen in our body. And like, I put all of this together because I had the feeling before I had the actual knowledge. And it was like, wow, I am really smart. Yes. I am really intuitive to get that download. And then now to be able to communicate that, right? Yeah. 5 years ago, when I first started, I would have said, I don't know, I just did it to feel really good and it works out. Who knows what I would have said. But yeah, it feels really cool to have something that's just mine, being the only entrepreneur of 3 daughters and, first generation, to be like, this is my business, and my business is healing and guiding. So I'm really privileged, and honored to have this be my path. Yeah. Yeah.
The terminology around masculine and feminine energy, we've heard it talked about a lot more freely in even the entrepreneurship community. And I would love for you to speak to, if someone is really having trouble embodying that feminine energy, the power that really lies in our intuition, our feminine, what would be 3 tangible steps that you would give them to help connect with that part of themselves?
First thing that came to mind is just use your voice. La, 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 moan and groan, cry, scream, First of all, because I think so much of the feminine is suppressed, especially vocally.
Yes.
And so open up your mouth, make a sound. If you want to scream into a pillow, do something, even just singing, right? That'll kind of warm up your vibrations of the voice. But I would say just use your voice. Second step is move your body, shake your body, stretch your body, dance your body, just move it, right?
Yeah.
Connect that voice to movement. And then I think the last, if I could say anything, is hug yourself, touch yourself, hold yourself, right? Me and P did this, right? When we had that connection to each other, we held our hands, and every time you touch your body, you tap your body, it's grounding you, it's connecting you. Oh, I'm here. Oh, I'm right here. Oh, not only am I here, but I deserve to feel good. Whatever it is I'm feeling, I deserve to feel it and to get more clarity around it. So use your voice. Again, there's so many ways, even if you are just saying la, 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 warm up that throat chakra, warm up your voice. Second, move your body, move that energy, make space for that voice even to flow through. And then thirdly, hold yourself. And there's so much more to the practice, but those are some really big pieces that are incorporated into the methodology.
And so doable.
So doable.
While we're on this topic, the last question I have kind of about this is how would you describe the power of tapping into that energy or just being more in touch with it? How can that benefit these creations that we're bringing to the world, whether it be a business, a passion project? You know, that's like the vibe of Powerhouse Women is, I know I'm here for something. I'm here to create something. Why is being in touch with that feminine energy piece of us important? How can it help us to manifest these things we want to bring into the world?
Mm-hmm. I think when you said, I know I'm supposed to be here, I know I'm supposed to do that, it's that intuition, it's having that hit that information in your body and trusting it. The divine feminine trusts. Again, with me and P, we're just like, I know you're going to wake at work. I know I'm going to wake at work. And it's that divine feminine that is trustful and not this masculine energy that says, I need the numbers and the books and the emails and the invoices to say this is going to happen. This is great. This is going to work. It's almost like looking for this tangible, which is what the masculine represents. What can I see? What can I touch? What can I hold on to? Whereas the feminine is this ethereal, this belief, this gut feeling that we trust. It's the pendulum, it's the oracle cards, it's the tea leaf, it's your meditation.
Yeah.
It really is, even with friendship, sometimes when your friend is encouraging you to do this idea or another, and you get this feeling or this knowing, I really genuinely think that this divine feminine will help you. It will help you in your business because you are trusting yourself. And most importantly, let's say, especially if you're growing a business that incorporates employees and other people, that touches your community, you want to move from a heart-centered space and not from this logical, which is also, of course, helpful. I am no way putting ever down the masculine energy, but knowing that you can move from this feminine space to obviously like help build what your goal is. So truly intuition, I think, is what that feminine is. And I like to explain, I think the gut instinct is more masculine because it's so much more tangible and like dramatic and powerful. Whereas that divine feminine is a part of you that, maybe there's two really amazing choices. And when you sit with yourself and get more clarity around it and trust that your body will sway forward, which means yes, or will sway back, which means no. Using your body as a tool for divination, because that's exactly what we are. We are tools, and we are here to really outlive those fantasies that eventually will become reality once we tap into that feminine.
It's so good. And just the way you describe it makes it so tangible, combined with those practices that we can do to start feeling into something that's already there. It's not like we have to go find it, discover it. It's already there. I want to turn to Priscilla because when we were prepping and kind of getting set up here, I just kind of posed the question to both of you. What's really like on your heart? What are you noticing? What's the theme that you light up when you talk about? And it had nothing to do with your amazing business and the community that you've created around off-duty rituals. The first thing out of your mouth was motherhood. And you are in such a cool season of motherhood. I feel so blessed that the time that I've known you has been on this journey of motherhood, and you've been so real about it. How would you describe the current season that you're in your stage of motherhood?
What season am I in? I'm in a fun season with my kids. I have Benny's 4.5, Willow's 3. She just turned 3 not too long ago, and they're fun. They're little humans. They can pour their own cereal and go potty by themselves. And that's pretty fun. And year 2022 when I was at Powerhouse and I was crying on stage and talking about the season that you're in is a season that your business is, or the season that your kids are in is a season that your business is in that sense. It's wild to think that because it feels so long ago, but it was also just there. And because my kids are still young and they're still only in school part-time, I'm still in it with them. And Patty saw it. She helped me drop the kids off at Lulu and KK's house, my in-laws who are snowbirds here right before. And I purposely wanted to drop them off a little early so I can just have like a minute. So it's not like dropping them off and speed racing here to then just like try to get my words together and just have a moment to ground myself before. It's been a learning lesson the past 4 years. But right now, this moment, my son's going to start kindergarten next year and he'll be in school Monday through Friday. And I'm just like taking it all in. I'm enjoying it. Like, I saw you not too long ago and you're like, this is go season. I'm like, I'm still at 35%.
Yeah.
I still am. If this is go season, if the assumption is that I am in go season, I am absolutely like, woof, I am still running, just walking. I'm just still walking.
The warm-up lap.
It's my warm-up
lap. Yep.
Because I love what I do. It doesn't feel like work. I'm a community builder at heart and it just happens like very natural. And I've just been very intentional of like building a life that works with my family. I have an incredible husband that is just like, Patty and Mitch are my cheerleaders. Patty and Mitch, all the way. And I'm very fortunate to just have like the support and the family that I do. But what's so cool about motherhood right now is that it's still just the beginning.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. I am like, and I'll never get tired of it. Like, this is just the beginning. And I love that I get to turn on and off whenever I want. And I made that happen. I just made sure that it was like, this works for me. This works for my manifestor self. And this works for my family and my kids. And I can be there and I get to pick them up. And yeah, it's a fun time right now. I'm really trusting more than anything. I think I've learned at this stage that you just get to an age where you're just like, you look back and all the things that didn't happen for you, you're like, that just wasn't meant for me.
Yes.
And you just trust. But it takes all that experience like over and over and the doors closing and the no's and the this didn't work out. And at the moment, it felt like it was the biggest deal ever. And now you're just like, that wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're just like, as long as you just keep following the breadcrumbs and doing exactly what you love and you're in touch with yourself and you're like really practicing like everything of just like, okay, what do I want? Because there's so many times you say yes to things and the next day it's a no. And it's like, all right, well, let's just go with a no. Because that wasn't, it's a different time now. And I'm riding the wave right now.
Yeah. I feel that. And when I had reflected to you, I can feel an energy around the events that you're doing, the communities that you build, whether it's cycling communities or the pop-up events. There's a momentum, but I also feel that's like your pinky toe of like the fire that's inside of you. That's like I said pinky toe, but then lifted up my pinky finger. Just go with it. I actually would love for you to speak a little bit more too. This is profound what you said. And I forgot that was a part of the wisdom you shared on stage was that, if you're a mom listening to this, you can probably relate that the stage your kids are in very much mirrors the stage that your business is in. Can you speak more to that for moms who are listening as a way to help them ground into whatever season that is for them?
Yeah. So that moment when I was at Powerhouse, I think she was 9 months, maybe. She still wasn't
You were pregnant the year before.
I was pregnant. My first Powerhouse when I attended, I was pregnant.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Even just sidebar, I saw you two get up on stage just, the casual between breaks. And I was like, who are these two?
Wow, I remember.
And they don't know it, but they're going to be on stage next year. Just I experience your energy both collectively. And you were pregnant with Willow at the time.
I was.
So fast forward a year later, she was still an infant.
Yeah. And baby girl didn't sleep throughout the night for 18 months. And that's my second. So I just didn't sleep. I think the most that I slept at that point was maybe 3 hours. I didn't have an Oura ring then, but I'm sure if I did, my score would have been a solid 3%.
They would have been like, just throw the Aura ring away.
And
this isn't for you.
It was so fun to be there. And I still wanted to be in the thing. I love being in the mix. I love community events. That's just like, and I love being poured into, and I love receiving, and I love giving in that sense. So, being at that event, it was just like, it was nice for both. Like, it was so great to give to everyone and to the Powerhouse community. And it was so great to just receive for the rest of it. And I think what got me so emotional on stage was like thinking about, that was my first night of sleep, because like you gave me a hotel room there. And I remember it was like,
that's right.
I got there and I knocked out for 8-9 hours straight. And it was, so I woke up ready. I was like, let's go Powerhouse. I got sleep for the first time in 9 months. Let's go. Like, that's how I felt.
I remember being like, I'm not going to use my hotel room. Do you want it?
It's like, yeah, I will take it.
Yes, I do.
Yes. And it's that, like, I wanted to show up and I wanted to do all the things and I just couldn't. I was tired. I was tired. I mean, Linz, I have listened on and off in your podcast, and I just like remember listening to so many moms just like with 37 kids saying, I built this 18-figure dollar business and with my 7 kids, and I had 2 on my back, and I'm just like, how? I'm like washing dishes, listening to it on my Sonos. I'm like, how does she do this? And bless them, right? Bless every single mother that just like made it work, because we do make it work. And I think the one thing that I want to get across to every mother is like, you are you. And your heart is so different, and everyone's heart is different. So I think when it comes down to entrepreneurship, when it comes down to motherhood, like there's nothing that I want to highlight more than like your heart is going to be so different than your friend's heart that's a mom. Like, so when I had to remind myself of that, even when I'm listening to like people who I aspire to be in different ways that you interview that are saying that they went through this. And I'm just like, I'm just not built for that during that season. Bless her heart. But I just couldn't show up the same. I am like, and I want to be here. I want to be here with my kids. And I know I am in my way, building my life for my family in Priscilla's way, in Priscilla's terms. And it's just going to look and feel so different. And it took me like this past year to really feel good with that, because I always felt like I wasn't doing enough and I had to do all the things, and one foot out, one foot in, and it's like, all right, every season is going to have there's some seasons my kids are in aftercare. They're like, I'm getting a little extra help. And then right after, I'm all in it. I'm all in. I'm taking them to the train park. I'm doing this, like, and it's the trade-off. And that's why I love what I built, in the sense that I can be on and off whenever I choose. And that has reminded me to keep it that way, because I always want to be there. I don't ever want it to turn off for too long. And my heart is my heart.
Which I'm piecing this together with even just the name of the community and the movement you're creating, Off-Duty Rituals.
Off-Duty.
What's the significance of that title now grounded in your experience in the season you're in?
Off-Duty Rituals is all about the work that you do when you're not in go, when you're not in hustle mode. Yeah. It's the moon and waves. It's the community in Powerhouse. It's the sound baths. It's the walks. It's the everything that you do when you're not in go, the little rituals that you do to support you for when you're in go season. So it's what you do when you're off duty. And that's like, it was just, I was pregnant with Bennett. It was during a meditation, and it kind of just came in, and I just like loved the idea of the words of off-duty rituals. Off duty. Okay. When you're on, you're on. But when you're off, what are the rituals? What are you bringing into your life? What are you speaking into existence that's supporting you? Yeah. And the pop-up events are really just, I call in all the experts, because I love to do all the things. Yeah. I don't need to lead all the things. I got my 2 things over here that I love to lead, but ask me to do a 60-minute dance class. Patty already knows how I feel about that. I don't enjoy that. I love doing it with my friends, making it collaborative. Yeah. And I'm just around all these incredible people who are just experts in their fields. And to me, Off-Duty Rituals is just really like this chance of everyone that's the best of the best in their field to come together and just like provide all these resources for this community of just like, pick one. We're going to do it all together. We're going to have a good time. Just come as you are and pick whatever it is that you want that's going to like allow you to just be and breathe, especially for entrepreneurs, especially for parents to just like, I had to force my husband, just go for a walk, just go. What are you doing for you?
What are you doing for you? That's such a powerful question for each of us to ask ourselves. And that was kind of the perfect segue, this vision of bringing together the best of the best, the reminder that these creations we have don't have to be centered around us being everything to everyone. And I feel like that's kind of the magic of what the Powerhouse Women event is and has become. And from that moment that I saw you both on stage, not realizing at the time what was about to happen, and I think just how much you were going to, I didn't even know just how significant you both were going to become to this community. Here we are on the cusp of, someone asked me, how many years is this? This is our 9th event.
Wow.
And you've been such a big part of the last 3 as the growth has just taken on a life of its own. And we joke that Priscilla is the unofficial, not like the welcoming. It's not an invitation. No one ever says, Priscilla invited me lightly. They said, Priscilla said I had to come. I was kind of scared. I was a little afraid. How would you describe the Powerhouse Women event and that experience to someone who has never been? As we are now opening up tickets and, we're starting to create this vision together, and you both are such a big part of creating the energy and the intention. And we have so many brainstorm sessions together to really start to feel into the energy of what the community needs. How do you describe it, and why should someone think about attending? Do you want to go?
Yeah, I think the first thing that came to mind was eye-opening. When I first moved here, P was the one that was like, we were going to go here. We got to go. It's so fun. I hear so much about it. And I went very blindly. I didn't know what that was. I was coming from the hustle of LA, had never been to a women's conference or business event, women's empowerment, like hadn't really done that been there as a guest on a larger scale. And I was just so inspired, just so truly inspired. We, every once in a while, will go, it's our time, it's our season. We heard that on the Powerhouse stage. We have all these little gems that we remember and people that made us smile and notes. And it was just so, it also gave me permission to actually call myself a businesswoman. I hadn't really, yes, I was doing business and I was working and I was grinding, but I saw all of these other women at different stages in their lives and their business, and they felt so empowered, and it really gave me permission to do the same. And also, I think, social media will put people on a pedestal, and you, Lindsay, I will say this till forever. You are such a beautiful representation of what it looks like to be an empowered, super smart, incredibly charismatic businesswoman.
Funny.
And
hilarious.
So funny.
Hilarious.
So funny. My favorite cousin, Priscilla second, your first. Favorite cousin ever. And just still so grounded. All of these aspirations that we all have as business owners and hopeful to have these 6-7 figure businesses, you brought that into this reality for so many of us. And you brought in all these other people who had the same passion and message, but they were also diverse. Like, you're into skincare, you want to write a book, there was something always for anyone and everyone. And I think what's so beautiful about it is that, again, back to that feminine, when we're so much in our feminine, we're afraid to be so empowered and to stand in our business and to say, sometimes we say like, oh, I just started a little business. I've been thinking about starting a business. It's like, well, look to your right, look to your left. All these women are thinking about it or have done it. There's so much to learn from one another. I think the great thing about Powerhouse too, as well, is that you get these moments of interacting with a complete stranger. So you can also see the humanity in other people. Yeah. Like if they could make it there, so could you. And that first year when I went with P was doing retreats with our good friend Brittany King. And, me as the jealous best friend, I was like, let's take a picture because we're going to be here next year. And she was like, wait, me and Brittany. And I was like, we're supposed to be us. It's supposed to be us. And when I tell you, I literally manifested that. I told Priscilla, we're going to be on the stage next year. I didn't know how. I didn't know. I hadn't even nothing, right? But I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then lo and behold, here we are.
Like your intuition, my intuition went up to the ethers, high fived. We were like, we'll get Priscilla on board.
Oh, I'm here.
Always on board.
Always on board.
Eye-opening. Do it do it, especially if it feels scary.
Yes.
Especially if it feels scary. We get, we're all truly mirrors of one another. And sometimes when we're just in our own mind, in our own little small community, we don't think that these things are even possible. And they let us be proof that they are, that we just went as a guest. And that us showing up authentically, the literal creator was like, I want you. We're like, okay. And then here we go. We're about to go back this next year. Number 4. Thank you.
I'll also speak. That was so beautifully said. Like that encompassed all of Powerhouse event. And I'll speak to the people that didn't have a best friend, sister, soulful cousin that is watching this on social media and is like, that looks cool, but I just texted all my friends and everyone bailed and no one could come. Because I think that is, it's easy when a friend's like, yeah, sure, I'll go. This looks like fun. Let's do it.
Totally.
It's nothing different than like going for a drink together or what. But when you don't have that community around you and those people to be like, I'm not going to spend money to go over there. It's like more of a reason to go because you'll find your people here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about getting yourself in a room with like-minded people. So you don't want to drink, don't go to a bar. You don't want to work out, don't go to but if you want to do those things, go to the places that is happening. You're starting a business. You want some friends. You want to meet some really dope, incredible women doing amazing things. Jump into Powerhouse. Any community.
Yes.
There's so many.
Find the one that resonates.
There's so many because it's like no one's saying anything groundbreaking, but something about hearing it from a specific frequency of tone and voice, it changes everything. So that's why different speakers hit for people differently in the sense that like I can be on stage and I can say the same thing that Patty does, but it's going to resonate differently with someone in the audience. So it's like, go into any community. But obviously we're going to tell you to come to Powerhouse because like we've been there for the past 4 years and we love, it's like what we look forward to. It's our New Year's. I say it every time on stage. It is literally our New Year's. You have January 1st and you also have August. We don't know what the date is going to be because it's always
15, 16, 17.
Okay. But it's going to be in August. And we're going into fall all together, like just like ignited, and it's a collective feeling. And it just gets bigger and bigger every year. It's just so fun. So even if you're coming by yourself, you will meet a friend and maybe you just sit by yourself and just receive, but you deserve to be poured into. You deserve to receive all the things at the same time, like we all do. It's just, it's a pretty incredible event.
This has just made me even more excited for it, this conversation. Before we wrap up, I want you to share with everybody where they can connect with you, where they can connect with Moon and Waves, where they can plug into a pop-up. Maybe while they're here, you guys typically do a pop-up after the Powerhouse Women event.
We
do. There's so much to come for both of you. So where's the best place for people to find and connect with you?
I'm All Natty Patty. I like to say it's short for like All Natural Patricia. It's not as cute, it's as long. And so All Natty Patty on Instagram and then also allnattypatty.com.
Ooh, she has a URL.
Oh, yes,
watch out. No, you're a businesswoman when you have a URL.
There she goes.
Yes, I love this.
Yeah, social media, Instagram is just the best. I'm not on the tickety talk just yet, but I'm hiring someone for that one. So whatever you see, shout out to Kaylin. Priscilla Perez, 3 Z's at the end. Don't confuse it with me sleeping because I never sleep.
No.
Off-duty rituals as well. We have a mailing list and we send it out to that mailing list first whenever we have pop-up events. And if you're in Arizona, I'm also at NYX, Nick's Cycling and Fitness in Old Town. So I'm there teaching to my people, doing all the things. So come for the vibes.
It's kind of the perfect full circle moment. You mentioned how the Powerhouse Women event every year is like this annual opportunity for all of us to acknowledge our own growth. And then I started by having you each hype each other up. Now you have a moment to hype yourself up. So we always end with this question of like, what's a recent Powerhouse moment you want to pause and celebrate yourself for? I usually say like, what's a recent one? What's the first thing that comes to mind? But I'll give you the freedom to say, when you think back to that moment being on the stage, saying like, yeah, we're going to be on this stage. And you think of how much you've grown. What's like immediately the first Powerhouse moment that comes to mind that you want to celebrate publicly right now and just really acknowledge yourself for?
I think so this last year was our 3rd year. And I think the thing that I was most proud about was quoting my dad in Spanish, throwing in more Spanish words in there and just continuously showing up more authentically. and really coining this good morning, buenos dias, and having people say it, and just, again, continuously incorporating more of our Latinidad in all spaces, but especially graciously at Powerhouse.
It's that just gave me, like, my heart just actually expanded 3 sizes, and it was powerful. Yeah, it's like back to the authenticity of all that you are. What about for you, Priscilla?
Oh man, so many. I think what's been really cool the past few years with my pop-ups with Off Duty is I just had one that was a collaboration with Lululemon and the Global Ambassador. And I had this moment of just like, every single pop-up has truly been the level up. And I'm sure you feel this with Powerhouse. Like every time you go in, it's just like, okay, next level, next level, next level.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've had enough now under my belt that I just like look back and I'm like, to think about my first one till now, like, OMG. And I'm just beginning and I am just starting. And it's so cool to connect every year with, I love talking about Powerhouse. And I also love talking about the Expanders Retreat too, because when we were at Expanders Retreat last spring in March, I got the date right. It's like, I remember being in that room with actual like 50 expanders. And that was just like, okay, my vision of what I thought, I was like, nope, we're going global. We're going here. Yeah. I literally said global. It's starting at the Global Ambassador, but it's going to go more
should have been more specific,
but more specific. But this, it was like, that just truly 10x my vision because of just the women that I was having dinner with. Yeah. Like, they're like, but what about this? But what about this? And like, they're jiving because I'm jiving. And it's just been like this. Yeah. Thank you for creating what you, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for bringing these women together. Thank you for having this idea of the Powerhouse, but also Expanders Retreat. And that's just like the beginning. And I'm so excited for that to continue because that is just going to be just a more intimate, potent. I think potent is like the word, like Powerhouse, it's potency there of, truly expanding that community in like a way that it's just going to get bigger and better every single year.
It is. And I think just like the reason it is because of all the people. Our like energy attracts us to each other. And you two are such a representation of that for me. I love you so much. You're my favorite cousins. You actually are. I don't really. I'm like, I don't like my other cousins. Is that fair to say on the podcast? Sorry, I don't think any of them listen to the podcast. You're my favorite cousins.
Yes,
I love you both so much.
We love you.
We are eternally, forever grateful. We're going to be 90 years old and we're going to remember who gave us our first stage. Yeah.
We'll be golden.
You will
grannies.
always be that marker for us at this time in our lives. And that's pretty incredible. So thank you for always calling us in, always cheering us on, always just being what Powerhouse represents, which is such a supportive person. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Te amo.
Te amo.